Hello, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Ginger the Voice, and this is my YouTube channel. And I'm so excited today to come and talk to you. But before I speak to you, can I please ask you to please subscribe on my YouTube channel and keep on watching more because there's more coming. Well, I'm the owner and the founder of Ginger the Voice, which is a communications company. So what we do is we encourage, we give hope in a hopeless situation, and we also enlighten people, information sharing. Well, we do this in different platforms. We do it by us facilitating, we do it by speaking, preaching, singing, and also we do MC work as well. So today, I'm so excited to be here, and what I want to do is to talk about the journey of unemployment. Well, it's a practical guideline, that I want to talk about for a few minutes with you because I've been there. I've walked the path, and since the COVID-19 situation in our country, obviously there've been a lot of retrenchments, and more people are also experiencing cuts in salaries. So there's a change in lifestyle. There's also change also in how we should see life, and how this whole thing has impacted our families and also how we now do life. So I thought, why not, let me speak to you guys and just share how I navigated through the wilderness when I was unemployed. I was unemployed for a whole 4 years, and I think this is a perfect time to actually let you know what actually happens, or rather what you can anticipate in terms of your emotions and how you see life. And in the end, you don't need to judge yourself or condemn yourself for how you feel, because unemployment is such an uncomfortable process. It's such an uncomfortable path. It is not easy, especially if you're used to getting income and living a certain lifestyle. So before I was unemployed, I worked like any other girl and in a very good job, and I earned quite, a lump sum of money, which was quite good, and I was very happy to be where I was up until obviously I got the retrenchment letter, and that's the sad part now. It wasn't easy for me at all when I received that letter. I remember that day. It was just not an easy letter to read of all letters that you ever get, especially from work. So what had happened to me is that I went through what I call unemployment grief, and it goes, from stage to stage, and people experience it in a very different way. So on my side, I first started off by being in denial. So I was like, no ways, it can't be me. I can't have lost my job. I'm a good worker. I'm a good employee. I come in on time. I deliver, on my work. I understand why I'm here. I'm focused basically, but hey, I lost the job. So the denial stage took over, where I couldn't even tell my family or tell my friends. But after some time, I had to tell them because they could see now there's a change in pattern in the way I do things. So from the denial stage, I had to tell them, right? Then from the denial stage, it went through to the anger stage, where now I was very angry with myself. I was also angry with the organization that had retrenched me. I was angry with myself because I asked myself a lot of questions. Am I a stupid girl? Why did I apply at this in this job? Especially for me, because at first I was in the public sector, right? And where there's more job security. And then I decided, I need more money in my life. So I need to up my game and probably go to the private sector. And I remember applying for jobs. So I was angry at myself for even applying for jobs. Why did I do that? Because organization A, where I was in the public sector, it worked out very well for me. I was comfortable, I was home, I knew what I was doing, it was very nice. And then I had to shift to organization B in the private sector. And that was just one of the things I got angry at myself, that why did I move away from a place of stability to a place where I'm now receiving a letter that says, it's over, goodbye and so long. I was also angry at the company because I asked myself, why did they even put out a vacancy if they know that at a certain time they'll be chopping down employees, they'll be retrenching, they'll be laying off people? So I asked myself a lot of questions, and didn't these people see how much I worked hard for them, how much I gave my all to this, and how focused I was, and how much I delivered, So you will get angry. You will get angry at the fact that why COVID-19, why at this hour? Maybe you were busy with a project that needed so much money, and why at this hour? So it's a whole lot of emotions, a roller coaster kind of situation, you know. And from there, it went to me questioning myself. Now, I questioned my sanity. I questioned my decision making. I questioned, you know, I had a lot of what ifs. What if I didn't apply? What if that morning I didn't go through the internet? What if that morning what if I rejected their offer when they gave it to me? You know, what if I'd stayed back in organization A, which is in the public sector? I wouldn't have been retrenched now. What if? So from denial to anger, and now we're on questioning myself, questioning my sanity, questioning my sobriety, questioning my decision making, you know. So it was so tough. And when you're unemployed, those are the things that you'll probably go through, you know, as a person. And then another thing that happened to me was that I then fell into depression. You know, depression comes in different ways and in different forms to different people, depending on the personality and the character of the person. So I just went through a very weird stage where I was just depressed, you know. And in my depression, I started now, obviously the patterns change, you know. I'm more of a people's person. I like seeing people. People give me life, you know. I become alive when I see people. But now it was more of I'm withdrawing, you know. I just want to be on my own, and I don't want to see people. I don't want anyone next to me. I just want to be on my own, you know. And I started eating a lot, you know. That's what happens sometimes. I'm not a person who consumes a lot of food. I'm not at all. I eat small portions, but this time around I would want chunks and chunks of almost everything and anything, you know, that I could get my hands on. From your chocolates to your meat to your bread to everything. It was just because I was eating because I wanted to remove this emotion of instability and uncomfortability, you know, inside me. And it felt like if the more I eat, the better it will become. But it was never the better it will become. Instead, I gained a lot of weight, you know, and I was overweight basically because of depression. You know, so you might just experience a different type of depression in your life when you go through unemployment, but it does come because you're frustrated and you're stressed, and you know you don't know where to go, to the left, to the right, forward or backwards. You think of a lot of things. How am I going to feed my children tomorrow? How am I going to feed my family? Maybe a breadwinner. How am I going to do things that you normally did? How will I ever get good to buy the stuff that I normally bought? You know, so it was a situation where I was really not okay emotionally. And then after some time, so you must remember all these stages, they don't just come one after the other overnight, okay? So there's a bit of an interval, you know, where maybe for a year, because remember I was unemployed for 4 years. So maybe for a year, you sort of like have a situation where you're in denial, and then for 6 months you fall into depression, and then for another 10 months now you are probably in another stage of anger. So it there's intervals, you know. So after some time, you know, I then got to a stage which I pray and hope that a lot of you guys get to as quickly as possible. Like, you don't take time and drag it like I did, you know. I got to what I call the acknowledge stage, you know, acknowledging your reality and your situation, that things have changed. You do not have income. You can no longer buy the things you used to buy or do the things that you used to do when you were earning something, you know. It comes to that. So I got to the acknowledgement stage where I did not accept my reality, but I acknowledged it. Because for me, accepting it, it would be like you're complacent now. You're okay with the fact that you're not working and you're unemployed. You know, it's not about complacency. It's more of acknowledging reality, but knowing that one day things will be okay. You know, that's the difference between acknowledgement and accepting. Acceptance is like, okay, this is it. I'm here and that's just who I am. Well, be it. No, it doesn't work that way. Never accept an unfavorable situation. Yes, you can acknowledge the reality that you're in of having a bit of a, you know, an obstacle along the way, but you cannot accept it, you know. Because when you acknowledge it, it means that you still leave room for a fighting spirit, for a spirit that says one day it will be okay. So I acknowledged it, you know, and it wasn't easy even to get there as well in acknowledging it, you know. Also, you know, in this unemployment, you're going to start now comparing yourself with your peers, comparing yourself with other people who are actually making it. They're driving their Mercedes Benz and they're having their own cars and having their own houses, and things are just working out for them. You start comparing yourself with your peers. It's only natural that you do that, but you must just be careful of doing that because it could in turn hurt you. Okay, so you don't need to compare yourself. First of all, you need to understand that there's a timeline. I mean, sorry, not a timeline. We don't work with time. We work with seasons, because we work with God. God works with seasons and not time. There is no timeline. God doesn't say by the age of 34 you must have a car, a husband or a wife, kids, your own house. God talks about timelines. I'm sorry, about seasons, because he's about purpose. So he's saying, he's talking about you in a certain season, because he wants to groom you to be a certain kind of person for the next promotion or for the next better life, for a purpose known unto him, which you need to sit down and find during this time of unemployment, And so obviously we do that through prayer. So time went by, okay, and eventually I regained a bit of inner strength. Now you must know that it was difficult for me to even apply for other jobs, because I was just demotivated. I was just not feeling like doing anything. That's how bad it was, So what happens is eventually you will regain strength. That's the nice part about it, and that's the good news that I have for you. Eventually I gained the inner strength and I started applying. So in my applying, I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna get a job, starting to have a bit of faith and starting to have a bit of motivation out there. So now what happened was I would apply for jobs and I'd go for interviews, and the weird part is I'd always get a regret letter. Unfortunately, Ginger, you are regretted. You're not successful in this position. And at first, that used to hurt me. I used to cry myself to sleep because of that. It would frustrate me, in fact. I'll be like, oh my gosh, because sometimes you go into an interview and you just get the feel of the interviewers and the aura that they give out, that you know what you're talking about. As well, if you've prepared, you as a person, you go in there and you're prepared. And you're like, no, I'm going to get this job. And unfortunately, over 8 times, I was unsuccessful in all those job interviews. Now you can imagine, the first time I cried, second time, the third time. By the 4th time, I was like, okay, this is it. They'll say no anyways, So it went like that, where I went from interview to interview to interview to interview. And regret letter from one to the other. Regret letter. And it's amazing that every time I would leave the room, I would actually feel like I've made it. But somehow I'd get a regret later, and that's the sad part, I think. For me, it was really frustrating for me. Okay, so but I continued to apply. Because now I was more at a stage where I had regained inner strength. The acknowledgement stage gives you that inner strength to be motivated, to know that somehow, some way, it will work out. Now, I need you to understand that during the process of unemployment, you're going to get 2 types of people. So you need to be mature about this. So you need to be a person who just tells himself or herself that you will grow up, okay? Because such is life. So now, what happened was I encountered 2 types of people. The first lot was a lot that mocked me, the lot that gossiped about me, the lot that thought less of me, and the lot that were very happy that I was in such a bad space. Okay, so you're gonna get people who are like that. Okay, you're gonna get people who are gonna want to make you feel even lesser than you feel already. They want to kill you even further inside, by saying things that are hurtful, by doing things that are hurtful. Those are the first type of people that you're gonna meet. The second type of people that you're gonna come across, these are the people who are gonna embrace you. These are people that I call destiny helpers. These are people that I call God-given helpers. These are people who are going to give you the money that you need. Okay, these are the people who are going to call you and speak positive things in your life. These are the people who are going to call you and pray with you. These are the people who are going to call you and say, what can I do to help you in the situation that you're in? Now, you need to understand that you need to focus more on these people that are embracing you, that are looking forward to helping you and lifting you from the situation that you're in. And those who mock you, try and pray. Pray and ask God to give you a heart of forgiveness, because there's nothing you can do about it. That's just how life is. There are certain type of people who are just pessimistic, who just want to see people in trouble and see people grow in misery. That's just how it is. So you're going to meet these 2 types of people. I remember, the people are mocking me. I had gone to a musical rehearsal. I sing as well, just by the way. So I'd gone to a musical rehearsal and because I had no money, so my slip-slops, the summer slip-slops, were just a bit torn, and I told myself that once I get money from wherever, I'll go fix the shoe. But now I couldn't, because I had to wait for someone to give me something. So I'm going inside the rehearsal, and this lady just comes through and she says, oh my gosh, why are you wearing torn shoes? And she starts laughing, ha 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 ha, like literally laughing, and I just stood there in shock. And mind you, it's not just her and I in the room. There's the rest of the crowd, the rest of the musical group who came for rehearsal. So it was just silence in the room. So everybody heard what she was saying. And you can imagine, I was so embarrassed. All I wanted to do was to, I don't know, just hide myself somewhere. So it was just that kind of situation. So you will get people who are like that. Okay, and they'll gossip about you. You'll hear bad things about you. Okay, some are going to be so happy. Those are the mocking people. But I want you to focus on those who embrace you, those who love you, those who are there to help you, your destiny helpers, God-given helpers. Okay, so you focus on those people. Those are the kind of people that you need to open yourself up to. Those are the kind of people that you need to allow them into your life, because they're there to lift you, to elevate you, and to get you to a point where you can at least stand. So those are the stages, the unemployment grief stages that I went through. And I suppose that's one of them. Is either you'll encounter one or two or all of them in your journey of unemployment. Okay, so I want to give you tips. I want to tell you of things that helped me during the 4 years of unemployment. It was a process, so it was a journey. It wasn't an overnight thing. So first of all, what I did was to pray. Okay, you need to pray because there needs to be divine intervention in your life. There needs to be transformation of how you think and how you see things. And the only person who can transform our lives is God. Only person who can transform our thinking is God. So you just need to lay your life in prayer to God and be real with Him. Don't put this church facade where you're like, oh, Jesus, this and that. No. It's more talk to Him, express yourself. He knows how you feel anyways. So I was one to complain. I was forever complaining. I'd be like, Lord, do you still love me? Do you still care for me? Do you still, what are the promises that you've said in your word? Why can't I see them working and happening in my life for so long? Couldn't it be just for 1 year? 4 years? That's just way too long. So I prayed. And in my complaining of prayer, it was still prayer because He's my Father. He's my God. So you need to find your way that you interact with God through prayer. It might be through worship and praise, which is good because He wants that from us as well. It might be through complaining, because my complaining wasn't in a disrespectful way. It was more to say, I do not know where to run to. You are the only source that I have that gives me life, that gives me a job, that gives me an income. So open a door. That's what I was saying. Open a door. If you don't give me a breakthrough, then who will? I cannot run to Mr. So-and-so or Prophet so-and-so. I trust in you. So do something. So the first thing you need to do is to pray. And secondly, as I've said before, acknowledging your reality. You need to acknowledge your reality. Stop being in denial stage. Stop thinking that, no, this is not happening to you. It is happening to you. Okay? Accept that. Acknowledge that. It is happening to you. And as it happens to you, you are realizing the facts of the situation. But the truth is, God will make a way. The fact is that right now, you're going through a tough time. But the truth is, God will make a way. So acknowledge your reality. Know that you do not have enough income anymore to buy your Brazilian and your Peruvian. Okay, acknowledge the fact that reality is such that you can't even go out because you have to save every inch of money that you have for your next meal or electricity or more important things. So learn to prioritize, and acknowledging your reality helps you in prioritizing. Okay. Another thing that I did was to risk being real. Okay, it's difficult for us to being real nowadays because society has the certain standards that we all want to meet because we all want to be accepted and be happy. But you need to risk being real and expose yourself, because there are those people who are good and who are going to embrace you, but they will not know that you're in trouble up unless you start being real. You risk being real by being open and tell them that, you know what, I cannot make it anymore to a certain event because I don't have money for it. I cannot sleep at night because I don't have money for food and to put food on the table. Can you please help me? Yes, some will mock you, like I say, but that's why I say you need to risk it. It's a risk, but a calculated risk, because out of 10 people, I'm sure there's going to be 1 or 2 people who are there to embrace you and to help you. Hence, I say to you, risk being real. So I would call people. I would call them. I'll be like, could you please help me with 500 rands right now? I need to pay for electricity. I need to buy food on the table. I actually need money to go to an interview or something like that. So you need to risk being real. Yes, some doors will not open, but surely there's going to be one or two people who open their homes just to help you. Okay. Another thing that I did, I was very intentional on whom I surround myself with. So power of association is quite important at this time. You need to be sober about it, you know? You need to be sober about it. Okay, be careful not to be around people who are negative. People who speak from their own personal experiences and don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. People who are so miserable in their own little lives that they want they want to pull people down to their misery. Get away from those people. Get away from people who do not see you bigger than what you are now in terms of your skills and abilities and your potential. Okay, get away from those people. You need to surround yourself with people who are going to preach, love to you, who are going to preach positive things to you, who are going to speak into your life. People are going to say, we know that you're going through a tough time now, but do know that there's a better place in the future because God has prepared something better for you. So those are the kind of people that you need to be friends with. Okay. Another thing that helped me was to, when I got the money that I got, you get your lump sum, pay your bills. Okay, that will help you a lot. And obviously you won't be able probably to pay everything that you owe the creditor, but the best thing that you can do for yourself is to call the creditor, let the creditor know that you've been retrenched. In fact, don't just call, but accompany that with the retrenchment letter, attach it to your email and send it to them. Let them know that at this point in time you cannot pay the installment. Okay, and for those who are not retrenched, I would like to advise you to actually take debt protection. That's a story for another day. So another thing that I did was to read books. I read books of people who've gone through tough times, people who've gone through a lot in their lives, and now they've crossed over. So they have success stories to tell. I read books such as Long Walk to Freedom. I read a lot of other books by other authors as well. Dr. Miles Monroe has a lot of books that he's written as well to encourage you and to help you, in pursuit of purpose. There's another title of a book that I once read written by Dr. Miles Monroe. What a number of books that you can read. Read those success stories because it will give you the strength, the motivation, and to know that if a person who is like you, who's got 2 feet, got 2 eyes as well, breathes the same oxygen as you do, was able to get out of misery, then you too can get out of the misery. So I want to encourage you today and to say to you that pray. I want to say to you that focus. I want to say to you that allow yourself to grieve, because this is not an easy process. It's not an easy situation. But to all of that, I want to tell you something. God never gets you into trouble for nothing. Every time in my experience, when we go through tough times, it's because there's a promotion. We go through tough times because God is preparing our characters and personalities for a better life. But He wants our characters and personalities to match His. So sometimes we need to be bruised by God and allow Him to bruise us. So in this time of COVID-19, and the whole world is shaken, I want to tell you, do not fret because God is here. I want to tell you, do not be scared because God is here. I want to tell you to focus because God is here. And remember that He loves you. Remember that He wants the best for you. And sometimes as a father, He will do things that are unfavorable to us. But when you've crossed over, you'll see the bigger picture, like I do now. Because what I went through actually birthed Ginger the Voice. That's when I was like, I want to give someone hope and encouragement and enlightenment. So I am able to sing, I'm able to preach, I'm able to say, to MC, to facilitate, and to speak. Why don't I just have a communications company, which is called Ginger the Voice? And that's how it was birthed. So there's bigger things that God wants to do with your life. Allow Him. Find purpose. Ask Him why. Why are you living on earth? Don't just want to exist. Ask Him, what's the purpose? What's the meaning of you being alive and breathing? Surely it's beyond you waking up and going to somebody else's company and pushing their agenda. There's more to God. There's more to life. So I want you to know that you'll be fine. Here I am. I went through it for 4 full years and I'm fine. Please do take into consideration these things and just hang in there and just know that God is with you. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please look out for Ginger the Voice and do subscribe. Thank you. Goodbye.